the strap out, we can do a cool shoulder integration with the strap after. Okay. So let's begin by taking the therapy balls out of the tote. And let's lie onto our backs. And then take the therapy balls to begin just below the level of the shoulder blades, right around the bra strap area. And then now, just to get this area moving a little bit through the mid-back, do a couple of pelvic tilts. Tip the pelvis down, tip the pelvis back. And just feel the therapy balls roll over a couple of segments as the pelvis pulls it up and down. So you don't have to do any work. The pelvis is driving all of the motion. Inhaling as you arch, exhaling as you round. And then slide the balls up just a little bit. Just move your hips down and then continue with that same action. So now that you're inside of the shoulder blades. Feeling the pelvis move the rib cage over the balls, not by using the shoulder blades though, but by using the pelvis, feeling that connection through the whole chain of the spine. And then maybe you roll down a tiny bit more. So now you're at the upper part of the shoulder blades, and we're still using the pelvis to move the balls in that space between the shoulder blades, a couple segments at a time. Connecting one breath per movement. And then now find stillness in the spine, and therapy balls are right between the shoulder blades now towards the top edge of the shoulder blades, towards the superior angle, so the top middle corner. And now let's keep the spine still and move the shoulder blades on the spine, pulling the shoulder blades up to the ears and then down towards the feet. Again, up towards the ears and then down towards the feet. Sliding your hands along the floor. Connecting one breath to motion, inhaling on the up, exhaling down. As the place you're on starts to free up, move yourself up one segment so that the balls roll down slightly more to the middle of the shoulder blades. And then chug yourself up one more time so that you get along the entire edge of the shoulder blades. And then now bring the arms up towards the sky. Let's stay with the same motion, still feeling the shoulder blades move along the rib cage, but rolling over the balls. So reach the hands towards the ceiling and then let the shoulder blades drop back around the balls. And notice if you can isolate again that shoulder blade mobility on the rib cage. Reaching up as you exhale, breathing in as you inhale. Feeling different spots along the edge of the shoulder blades, isolating that shoulder blade mobility. And then now reach the arms up towards the sky, and then let one arm reach up overhead as the other reaches down by your hips. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, arms float up and switch directions. Inhaling. Exhaling, switching all the way. Inhale and reach. Exhale and switch. Inhale and reach. Exhale and switch. Inhale and reach. Exhale and switch, continuing a couple more times. Maybe one more round on each side. And then let both hands come down by the hips. And then now palms turn upward and just gently start to snow angel the arms up, keeping them on the floor. So only going as far as you can while the arms stay supported on the floor, using as little energy as possible. Inhaling on the way up, exhaling on the way down, changing the ball position to that just right spot. Maybe pausing where you notice a point of sensation. Maybe that arc becomes a little smaller, that you don't go through the full range, but maybe you focus on part of the range where you feel sensation between where the ball and body meet, exploring that location a little bit more. Taking a few more rounds, remembering to breathe, breath being the best way to mobilize the rib cage. So starting where we left off yesterday, now integrating the arms in. Let the arms come down for a moment. remove the therapy balls and we'll take them back into our tote for a minute. We will return to a similar position in a couple minutes, but take your balls back into the tote. And I'm going to use the balls stacked vertically in the back, right along the shoulder blade. And we're going to take the therapy balls and strip them from the back of the shoulder right to the spine. So moving the shoulder blade back onto the back with the therapy ball. So I'm going to start out by my shoulder. Therapy ball stacked vertically. And then I'm going to cross my arms. I'm going to take my left arm over my right, and the balls are on my left side. And I'm going to hold my left arm with my right, and I'm just going to roll and twist towards the left. And I'm going to feel the therapy balls right along the back of the shoulder blade. So now I'm actually on the shoulder blade, turning on and off of the therapy balls, using my weight to mobilize that back portion of the shoulder blade. And I find that it's easier for me to go one direction and then reset the balls and then kind of do it again along the back of the shoulder blade. And then maybe you can start to go in both directions. If you find that you're using the head a lot or holding the head up, you can support the head on your Courgeous ball. And then you can come back off, staying on the same side of the shoulder blade. And I kind of broke it into two segments. I'm going to cross my arms tightly again. And now I'm going to come to that space between the shoulder blade and the spine. It is possible to do that whole strip at one shot, but as I was doing it, I found myself, I didn't want to effort that much, so I just made it a little shorter, and I'm breaking it into two segments of getting between the spine and shoulder blade. And then getting between the shoulder blade and the spine. And I'm just using the rotation of my elbows from side to side and my trunk from side to side to free up the edge of that shoulder blade. And you may even pause in stillness as you get the therapy balls right up against the edge. And just breathe into where the ball and body meet. And then switch to the other side. I'm going to go along the back of the shoulder blade first. So starting out towards the shoulder, crossing my arms, and then I'm going to roll over the therapy balls. And this could also be done on the wall if you'd like. So I'm exploring the back of the rotator cuff, a little bit of the posterior deltoid, the back, kind of girdle of the shoulder. Using a little twist to guide the movement. Maybe even pausing in stillness. And then when you're ready, progressing to the space, if you haven't gotten there yet, between the shoulder blade and the spine. Not crossing over the spine, just bumping up against the spinous process and then bumping up against the shoulder blade. Using as much or as little movement as possible or as necessary. You can roll over the balls, keeping the balls still, or move your body and move the balls. Whatever is calling you in this moment, there's no right method. It's about meeting that sensation and then asking your body what it needs. What is it asking for? What would it like? How can you approach it with kindness without forcing or efforting? Maybe this side feels totally different than the other, and the technique might be totally different, left versus right. Remembering that sometimes stillness is the best option. And then remove the therapy balls and just lie on your back for a moment, feeling the mid-back, feeling the shoulder blades sink into the floor, noticing if there's any particular parts that you're still holding. Asking your body if you can soften them. And then taking one of the therapy balls out of the tote, let's come to the top of the shoulder. We're going to do it a little bit differently. I like doing both sides and getting in the upper trap. And we'll do that like we normally do. But I actually want to get into like the top of the rib and the top of the rotator cuff a little bit. So I'm going to use a block. You don't have to, but I like to do as little effort as possible. And I'm going to find the shoulder blade and collarbone, and they make a little V. And right between that V, there's a soft spot where the upper trap sits, and then deep to the upper trap is your rotator cuff muscle, the supraspinatus. So now I'm on the top of the shoulder, not so much the back or that meaty part of the upper trap. I'm right between that V of where the collarbone and shoulder blade come together. And I'm just going to hold the ball there for a second so I know where I want the ball. Now I'm going to lift the hips, pushing weight into that ball. And I can just keep my hips up like this. And then I can move around a little bit, but I'm pretty lazy. So I'm going to take my block underneath there, because then I can just sort of let my hips be supported and lean a little bit. And I'm going to get that spot right at the top of the shoulder. And I'm even going to kind of lean into it a little bit. I like the block here better than the Courgeous ball because the Courgeous ball is a little soft, so it doesn't give as much stability. And first, I'm just going to breathe into that spot and really see if you can shoot your breath right up to where the ball and body meet, because that's where the top of the ribs lie. And it may be quite sensational. And notice what happens if you move the head. And then let's see what happens as we move the arm. I'm going to move the arm about 30 degrees out to the side, and you should feel some tension under the ball. And as you slide the arm out in that snow angel position again out to the side, you should feel sensation where the ball and body meet in that place between the shoulder blade and the collarbone at the very top of the shoulder. And then you might find that that arc in the arm begins to increase, and just see what happens as you bring the arm up now towards middle range and maybe even a little bit higher. Just meeting your body at whatever edge or barrier it's presenting, not pushing past it. Taking about 3 more breaths here in stillness or movement. Last breath. And keep the hips lifted, but shift the therapy ball right to the top corner now of that shoulder blade, that inside corner or superior angle of the shoulder blade. And so again, we're not quite on that meaty upper trap that I often target, but we're right at the corner of the shoulder blade. And you may sway just a little bit side to side to find that just right spot. So now we're on the levator scapula. The levator scapula goes from the neck to the corner, that top corner of the shoulder blade, to elevate, levator, elevate the scapula. So maybe do a couple shoulder shrugs, feeling the change in tension right where the ball and body meet. And then I'm feeling the desire to do a little sway side to side. And this way I like having my pelvis supported so that I'm actually going across, like scrubbing that levator scapula. Then I'm going to pause in stillness. And now you may even start to move the neck. So find a spot so that you can pin down that top corner of the shoulder blade. And then try to move the head away. You can rotate and side bend away And notice if you feel it pull from the ball to about the side, the middle side of the neck, as you kind of create a pin and then a stretch. I find that this muscle has a little bit of that burny sensation when you're on it. And then just pause, allowing your weight to rest into the ball. See if you can soften the whole body a little bit more. Taking a few breaths right into where the ball and body meets. And then remove the therapy ball, remove the pelvis from the block. Just come to your back for a moment to reset. Feeling the difference in your neck from left to right after doing that. The levator scapula is a scapular muscle. However, with this chronic forward head posture that we have right now, well, in general in this society, but especially right now, the levator scapula works overtime to try to keep the head on top of the shoulders. So it ends up becoming a neck muscle instead of a shoulder muscle. And so it's asked to do a postural work instead of a movement work. And that creates a lot of discomfort often in the shoulder blade. So now let's come to the other side, taking your therapy ball right into that V, just between the shoulder blade and the collarbone, placing the ball there, and then lifting the hips up. Again, you don't need the block, but I really like having the block so that I don't have to work so much to hold myself up, so I can lean in as well as moderate the amount of weight that's in the therapy ball. So I'm first just going to arrive meeting that sensation, and for me the side's a little more tender. The body's not symmetric, so begin again without any expectations that it's going to feel like the other side. Especially with our handedness, there's a lot of asymmetries between the left and right upper extremities. So just bring your awareness to where the ball and body meet. Find that just right spot, breathing right into that V at the top of the shoulder, that crease between the neck, rib cage, and shoulder. Breathing into the top corner of the rib. The rib becomes a little point at the top. So see if you can send your breath right up here, swelling the breath at the top of the shoulder. Let go of thinking. Rest in the sensation of where the ball and body meet. And then when your body starts to feel curious for a little more, maybe you start swinging the arm out to the side. You should start to feel sensation at about 30 degrees out to the side. And you should feel like the pressure stops you before you get your arm up to a T. Just meet that barrier, meet that resistance, pause, and then back off. And then come back in. adjusting your body to find that just right spot. Maybe pausing in stillness. When you meet some sensation, noticing what's happening in the face and the jaw, keeping the jaw soft, the eyes soft. And then you may start to feel yourself move beyond the T, exploring the part of the movement. Breathing right where ball and body meet. Filling the upper corner of the ribs. Let the head be relaxed, arm heavy and supported on the ground. Lean in and explore the sensations with curiosity. And when you feel ready, after another 3 or so breaths of movement or stillness, let's change positions. Coming to the inside corner of the shoulder blade, finding the levator scapula at the top inside corner. You'll be able to find it by shrugging the shoulder a little bit, feeling a pull under where the ball and body meet. And I'm feeling like this muscle wants to be strummed like a guitar. So I'm just swaying my shoulder side to side, rolling right over the ball. You may even get a little strumming or clicking. Oftentimes, this muscle will be very fibrous, especially if it's doing some extra work over time to keep you out of that forward head posture. And play with the shrugging up and down of the shoulder or the moving side to side, or maybe it's just sustained compression and breathing into where the ball and body meet. And then to explore the neck connection, side bend and rotate your head in the opposite direction, feeling how the ball pins the shoulder blade down and the head moves away from the ball. Feeling the stretch or the pull into the side of the neck. Repositioning the ball is necessary to find that just right spot. Letting the body release with a sigh or a flushing sensation or change in respiration. There could be a sinking sensation into the ball, like the tissues just become more viscous and meld around the ball. And then as you're ready, remove the block, remove the ball, come back onto your back and notice the difference in the shoulders as well as the neck, feeling more symmetry now between the sides. Maybe rotate the head side to side. Taking a few breaths. And then let's stick with the block and a single therapy ball, and let's come towards hands and knees. Let's come into one more mobilization for the front body by loosening that front tight portion of the body. We can allow the shoulder blades to retract and come back. So first, just notice how they're feeling in this moment. And then I'm just going to have you do a subclavius release. So instead of going through the whole pec region, I just want to do the bottom border of the clavicle, since we really got this upper portion where a lot of that holding occurs. We'll just take that small therapy ball right up to the block. It can go on the low or middle height. I'm going to go for the middle height at the moment, right along that edge. And we're just going to press our weight into it. You don't even have to move. You can just let the forehead rest on your other hand. Arm can be out to the side, up towards field goal, or by your side. There's no right way, as long as you can let the body melt into the ball. And I'm using the small ball in particular for this so that we can get right up against those top few ribs and the clavicle, trying to get underneath the bottom edge of the clavicle. Use your breath as the driver. Breathing right into where the ball and the body meet. And I kind of get right up into that edge, and then I just like ever so slightly shift my hips back a little bit so that I can get right on the bottom edge of the clavicle. And notice if as you breathe here, you feel like the head starts to come forward more. So literally the neck becomes longer. Kind of like a turtle coming out of its shell. Just feel how that neck extends away from the collarbone as the body softens. Really let the head lean into gravity. Just like when we were on that levator scapula, we were pinning down the scapula so that the neck could move away. And we're just doing the same exact thing here now along the front body. Staying out of the throat region. Using the breath to drive the change. See what happens if you change your head position. And when you're ready, switching sides. Coming right underneath the border of the clavicle, shifting the hips back just ever so slightly so that you feel the ball bump up against the bottom edge of the collarbone. Head drops towards the floor. Maybe it begins on the hand. For me, it began on my hands, and then my forehead ultimately got to the floor. Just as the breath allowed me to sink in. Be really careful not to force. Instead of pushing the ball in, welcome the ball in. Notice what happens if you turn your head one way, then the other. Breathing right into that juxtaposition of body and ball. And then gently removing all the balls, all the props, coming to sit. Taking a few shoulder circles, just circling the shoulders. Up, back, and down. Then circling the elbows and the shoulders, hands on the shoulders, circling up, back, and down. Then circling the whole arms, shoulders, elbows, arms, up, back, and down. Take up as much space as you can. And then if you have the strap nearby, if you don't, just keep up the circles. We can take that strap that we were going to use for the hamstrings and we can just use it to floss our shoulders. You're going to want to come up overhead first and just take the arms back, creating just as much space as you need to finish that circle so that it peels right through that part of the range. Inhaling up, exhaling back. Noticing if just with a few, you can start to pull the choke up on the strap just a little bit. Take one more round. And then release. Just let the arms hang heavy by your side. Do a little shake of the head, do a little shake of the shoulders. Feel the spaciousness between the ears and the shoulders. Feel the breath fill the upper chest. Back. Feel the shoulder blades rest heavy on the rib cage, allowing them to rest and be supported by the surface beneath them. remembering and noticing as those shoulder blades come up in daily life, as that head pulls forward, just to come back to this place. And coming back a little and often, remembering this place of center, of ease, and of balance. Thank you so much for your practice. Have a wonderful day.